It is such an honest, genuine and very clever, intelligent adaptation of the book. The essence of Matilda, the book, is really in the theatrical experience as well. I think that's what's so special about Matilda the musical.
I think we all feel very lucky. It particularly shows like Matilda because these are stories that you were brought up with, like they're part of my childhood.
The show has been happening for about half an hour before I come up here. So I've been aware of the audience and sort of the energy, and I go and I look and sort of listen. But that moment sitting, facing away from them is always exciting.
So grateful for Mrs. Nita, Mukesh, Ambani for inviting us here and bringing this show to India. It's really a thrill and an honour for us to tell this story to a whole new country, and hopefully we inspire a lot of young India locals here, actors, to kind of join the stage revolution.
I think a lot of us wanted something that was what we could showcase to the world, and the NMACC is one of that. World class was a word that I think for all Mumbaikars we were searching for a long time as far as theatre was concerned. There was great performances, you know, when you look at indigenous performances, fantastic performances, great actors. But in India what had happened was the next stepping stone would end up being film. But when you went abroad, you saw West End, you saw musicals, you saw these fantastic performers flying in the air, and you used to wonder, wow, you know, we want to see something like that over here. So today at the Nita Mukesh Ambani Cultural Center, we're right here and we realize that, you know, it's happening here. And it's close to me, it's right next to my office. So I just walked down and I bump into three wonderful, wonderful performers. Now the beauty is, when I'm reading about them, I realize that because they performed all over the world, this is a new experience for them. This audience will be new. The last couple of years, we've had artists come from all over the world, and I've just been wowed by the number of people, the sheer number of people in India. So because they come for the first time, I want to ask them about that. They've actually had very few people they've seen on the roads. So guys, thanks so much for joining me. Natalie, we'll start with you, of course. Your first trip here, the Matilda cast, Matilda director, James, Matthew, thanks so much for joining me. But India, what do you know about India? Have you read a lot about it in the last 1 year, 6 months, online, digital? What do you know about India?
Yeah, India's always a place I've wanted to go, actually. I've travelled a lot and I've never made it to India, so it's so exciting to come and see. I just think of colours when I think of India. So many beautiful, bright, vivid colours, and I think, you know, in food, in art, in the people and what they wear. So yeah, that's the first word that comes to my mind when I think of India.
With food, there's a lot of spice. Do you have a good tummy?
Probably, we'll find out.
Yeah. So your first trip here, and you know, when I talk about the numbers of people here, you know, a lot of people are very excited about India because we're seeing things for the first time. I think the digitalization of content across the world has really changed everything. You know, we're able to see the COVID in one way did that. People had a lot of time to sort of see content. So now they compare everything with the best of the best. So you all are one of the best of the best. So when they come here, they'll want to see the best and then they'll compare, which is great. You know, and for you also, your first trip here, James, you know, what did you expect? Were you coming with some preset notions? What is the crowd going to be like, and how is the performance going to be? So they've literally just walked in here.
Yeah.
Like boom.
Yeah, we landed 2 days ago.
Yeah.
My experience so far of Mumbai has been busy. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of traffic. But already I've been to a couple of places and eaten the food and sort of, you know, walked in the streets and what have you. In the rain, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah. That was a shock.
So at the time of this interview being taken was the frenetic 30 minutes that happened in Mumbai, which we didn't understand what happened. I was walking on the road and suddenly I said, why am I going to be lifted up?
Yeah, it was slightly terrifying, but it was great. It was an interesting thing to see. But I think the same as Natalie. For me, I always get very excited about food. And I've been very excited to come to Mumbai and try the food. And so far, impressive.
Tummy's holding up, not bad.
Yes, no, good so far. Touch wood.
Yeah, they're going to be here for a while as well, a couple of weeks at least. Matthew, what about you? You know, you have this traditional chocolate boy face of yours as well.
Oh.
Yeah. And you know,
So
we'll come to your great resume, and all of you all have such fantastically filled resumes, which is great. But, you know, as a cultural center, for years, India was always called that. You know, Natalie mentioned colors, and Holi was big color. Coldplay had made one music video where they had a lot of color being splashed around, which I do assume was out there. The world's become a lot smaller. You get to know a few artists here and there. Do you know about films here? Do you watch? Or have you seen any artists? Have you read about some artists?
I haven't seen loads, and I'm excited to sort of get lost in the culture a little bit. I think that's what's so great about what we do, is we get to see so many different places. But also as a company, we're a really international company. So we're like, as we find out more stuff about each other and share experiences together. So it's from the minute we started this show, we're kind of learning about different cultures and seeing different places all together. So yeah, I'd love to. Maybe you can give me some tips of the best ones to watch.
We'll see. You want to see, because it's so varied as to the kinds of tastes that people like. I think we are a very consumption-driven audience. You know, in India, everyone wants to watch everything because they all want to have an opinion of it, which is going to be great. So you're like the OG, Natalie. You know, between the two of them, you've been at the helm of affairs for 8-9 years, and when they say resident director, also, it's possibly, I think, the toughest job, because the artists, let's face it, get all the great accolades also, right? They'll get the right there in front, which is brilliant. Are you one of those nervous directors that is waiting to see one eye on the artist, one eye on the crowd, and back and forth like that? Is that how you are after all these years?
It's interesting because every country that we go to, the audience is, we don't know actually how the audience will respond. And there is so much in common around the world about how they respond to Matilda and the points of the show that they respond to. It's so universal, the show. So I'm really looking forward to how audiences in India will react to this show. But yeah, it's not so much nerves about the actor and the audience. It's more just curiosity, and then to see, you know, how do we play? We play the show the same, like it's the same show.
That's what I was going to ask you. Yeah.
Often we have subtitles to make sure the local audience will understand, but it's so universal, the themes of this show. So it is more about just making sure that the central themes translate over to the local audiences, and because it is about so many human things that we all experience, that's been one of the most rewarding parts about going around the world, actually, is just seeing how audiences in different countries still respond to the same central themes of Matilda.
Logistics always play a huge role as far as when big productions travel, you know, whether it's music bands or sports shows or whatever. Is that like, have you just got used to it now because you travel so much and it's not a big deal, you know, 15 minutes in, 2 days acclimatize, show in the afternoon sometimes, no matinees here, but otherwise sometimes you probably have matinees, sometimes in the evening. Is it just all clockwork?
I think it depends on, you know, we have 79 people that travel with us. So, you know, we have 3 here. So, you know, there's 76 other people that make up the company. And it's really, some people are straight in there. They're out to the local street food there, you know, and then other people will take a little bit longer to kind of get to know the area. Of course, the crew come in and go straight to work, straight away putting the show in, and you know they don't get a day off for a week or so they find out all the you know, the places, the stories to go. So it is interesting. I think everyone has their own way in, if you like. But yeah, I think by now the 79 of us are pretty, you know, we're used to getting on a plane, turning up, and we know we get looked after really well. So, you know, we're so lucky to have these experiences.
We had fresh flowers put in for you all.
Yeah, I was actually looking at these. They're lovely. Can I take them to my dressing room afterwards?
So I normally do this with all directors also, because you have such a keen eye on your actors. You know, we read about I will read about these beautiful reviews that have come for both of them. But, you know, when you see them, are you strict with them after upon a time, or are you like it happens a lot of professional athletes, when the coaches come in, you know, for the leagues, they don't really tell them what to do. They're just fine-tuning here and there. Is that how you are with them? And a couple of good things about each of them, and
yeah, I would think
one thing you want to change about them.
Feeling suddenly stressed.
All right, don't look at them. We're coming to them after that. You'll get your chance as well.
I think what you said about fine-tuning is really interesting, because I think it is, you know, Matilda is now, it's been played in 91 countries over the world. It's been running for over 11 or 12 years in London, and there have been so many actors that have played these roles around the world. And I think what's really wonderful about this production is that there are you know, certain parameters within which a character can live, and it's about making sure that each and every actor has an understanding of that spectrum, and then you never, if they venture outside of that parameter which you believe to be not quite right for the role or not quite right for the show, then we'll discuss it. But I think the wonderful thing is finding out what each individual actor will bring to that role. So I think in a way it is similar to what you said in sports. You are fine-tuning, and you are just kind of making sure each and every actor is guided towards the holistic production, which is different for everyone.
That was the easy part. Now the tough part.
So
about the two of them.
Well, very lovely men, number one.
All right.
Very lovely men, and a wonderful thing.
Tick
So
of
they
the
both
box.
have a long history with Matilda as well. So that's the more knowledge each actor will have. I think both of these gents were in the London production. And now stepping into these roles in the international production. So they have, a really wide breadth of knowledge of the show, and I think that really does help. I think there's both Matthew and James have done other things in the show, so they really come to their own roles now.
When you say other things, as in production as well?
Other roles within
other
the
roles
same
as well.
show.
All right.
Yeah,
fantastic.
you can ask them about that later. But yeah, there is there's a broader knowledge of the show within each of their characters, and I think that really adds to their performance.
But you have quite the resume. I have to read this out because I think a lot of people, these are such incredible names, and Boy George in the Musical Tavern in Brixton in New York, Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. I was such a fan. I've ate chocolate for years in the Willy Wonka factory every day that I wanted. As I grew up, I realized there's too much sugar. And my mother said that was the trouble that you did. Matilda, of course, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, Cats the Musical, perhaps one of the most famous musicals across the world. This is outstanding. I mean, you must have won so many awards. Of course, I went through the resume, but it's amazing. And also to continue to be inspired to want to perform. Yes, of course, we're all performers. We live each day. There's a bit of nerves when you get on stage, but it's always a little different. Some are a little bit closer to you. Some roles you'll enjoy a little bit more. This entire journey, tell me about it, that's been there with Matilda and before as well.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel very lucky. I think we all feel very lucky. It particularly shows like Matilda because these are stories that you were brought up with, like they're part of my childhood, and I feel a sense of responsibility stepping into these stories because you know that for a lot of young people, for a lot of families, they're experiencing these stories for the first time. So you have a huge responsibility in what you're doing and kind of creating that story and world for people. I've actually been involved with quite a few sort of family focused shows, and I've always found that a real privilege because I think you're part of something that is so special, and that is why it is so addictive to do this, because you're really part of a massive highlight, something that people are planning for ages, and you never really lose sight of that privilege that yes, this becomes your day to day, but this is somebody's birthday treat. This is like a huge event, and so to be part of that feels really special.
I remember watching an Al Pacino interview, and every interview he used to do, he did about 50, 70 in the day. And I remember the last reporter that had come up, and he said, "This is amazing, you're still so fresh." He said, "Yeah, you're meeting me for the first time." He said, "It doesn't matter whether I've done 69 or 169 before that." And that was very important because he said, the first time you meet someone, that person is so excited to meet Al Pacino, he wants to probably ask the exact same questions that have been asked 15 minutes ago. But he gave the same fervor. And I think for performers, repetition and discipline, and to bring forth even the spontaneity has to be there. Like, you can sort of recreate the same role, and especially your role was so tough it appears tougher, let's put it that way. There will be a lot of repetition, of course, recreation, of course, but then there's always that one new thing that you'll end up doing in the show, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Do you feel that every single time, the tingle in the back of your spine when you get on stage?
Yeah, I do. Mainly because the back of the spine is what is facing the audience in my first scene. I start with my back to the audience, and I've been aware because the show has been happening for about half an hour before I come up here. So I've been aware of the audience and sort of the energy, and I go and I look and sort of listen. But that moment, sitting facing away from them, is always exciting. Yeah. I'd never not in all the performances I've done. Yeah, it will be that again because this is a whole brand new audience in a brand new place in this incredible theatre. So yeah, it will be very.
So when you get comfortable, is it the second or third day when you'll have sort of iron out? I doubt if there are any chinks.
No, I'm sort of 2 years in and still not sure. Yeah, I mean, yes, it does take a little time for things to settle.
Because this is a musical, you can't just suddenly start speaking and stop and wait for, there's like a million things that are moving in sync with each other. Sometimes when you do theatre, you can actually stop and suddenly say, can you speak up a little bit? You know, that one-on-one that happens there. Doing a musical and having this beautiful orchestra in front of you, I mean, that's just incredible, isn't it? I mean, we watched it and sometimes, y'all have been doing it for a while, but is the singing very natural? Is the dance and the movement all very natural? Is it like the casting process? Because you do that, do you make sure that they already have like a huge background of all the facets required for the actor? Or will you teach them also if they're a little bit lower? Not on this stage, of course, but when you started off, were you also doing that? Okay, the singing is not great. Okay, we'll see, we'll bring that up. He's a brilliant actor and moves very well, so we can sort that out. Do you do that in casting as well a lot?
Sometimes it depends on what the role requires, I think. And if someone is so strong in one of those disciplines that you mentioned and is so valuable in that role, then you will work harder with them on the other ones to get where they need to get. But I mean, most musical theatre performers know they have to be triple threat. So they work at their singing, they work at their acting, and they work at their dancing. But yeah, I guess there are parts that, especially, when you're casting children, sometimes they're so raw and there's a lot of training that hasn't been done. So you might have a young performer with an excellent voice, but know that they've got to really have a bit more time in the dance, for example, and that's worth it because, they will get there, and then this whole package will be, after all the rehearsals that you do, will be what that role is, perfect.
The rehearsals part I want to talk about. A lot of people just see the finished product. When we used to watch people doing dance in New York and in India, everywhere, a lot of my friends are part of dance companies, 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day. And the dance, the movement. I mean, how long does it take to get a finished product? Say, your lead actor's 5. How long did you have to spend on her?
The children, the girls that play Matilda are extraordinary because most of the time they haven't done professional theatre. Some of them in London probably have, but... My
son is 7, my daughter's 4.
Yeah.
They're just speaking on stage just about like the 3 lines. And I'm thinking, this girl is a year elder to my daughter.
Yeah, the character of Matilda is 5.
Oh, yeah, how old is she? But
the girls that play Matilda are usually older than 5, so don't let that stress you out.
9, 10, 11, yeah.
So,
even then, that's incredible.
What's so rewarding about this show, and I hope your audience here at the NMACC will also find the same thing, that they're just blown away by what this young actor does through 2.5 hours of a show. And what's amazing for us is that we meet them on the first day of rehearsals, and they are a young performer that doesn't have the discipline necessarily or doesn't have the experience, and then within 8 weeks of that process, they get out there in front of 2,000 people and sing and act and lead the whole adult cast through. And it's extraordinary. It's amazing watching them grow up. They mature so quickly without even knowing it. There is so much asked of them, and they just step up to the plate. Same with the young boys that play Bruce and Eric. It's really, it's constantly impressing us as adults watching the professionalism and just the focus that those young performers have. But it doesn't come straight away. So to your point, it is rehearsed. I mean, adults, we took 6-7 weeks of rehearsals.
And this is with even people like them that have been so like wow.
Yeah, because you sort of come back into it, and it's then becoming part of this company and this cast. So you could have done the show 100 to 200 times before with a different company, a different cast, different stage as well. In London, it's slightly different. So when we then come into the tour, we do then still need that time to get used to each other, get used to little changes that might happen. So yeah, it is.
So there are no egos with 79 people?
Of course
there are.
So special demands and special things.
Well, I just want these flowers.
I shall give them. But does that happen? I mean, is that easily passed over?
I think when you go, right, I'm joining an international tour, there is a part of signing up to be part of as cliche as it might sound, like a new family, because these people have to become that, because you are traveling together, you're eating breakfast together every part of your day, and we're all here for the same goal. So yes, I'm sure we all have our individual needs and desires and wants, but we also have a common goal, and that's to be here and be part of doing this.
I've tried to keep a very large family together. It doesn't work. We realized it during COVID. I have to read out some reviews because they're so fantastic. James's terrifying portrayal of Mrs. Trunchbull could have made scenes at school feel overwhelmingly gloomy. However, the young actors who play Matilda's classmates inject such life into the school scenes that it's impossible not to enjoy them. Not bad, I say, James. Reviews are always an acid test. Do you all read the next day? What's happening?
Never. No.
Really?
No, I don't.
I've never heard that one.
I've never heard that.
It's all online. It's amazing.
Yeah, no.
And wait, let me read some reviews for you.
Here we go.
Mr. Wormwood, portrayed by Matthew, shines with his physical comedy. Mr. and Mrs. Wormwood, played by Matthew and Emily, have the kind of onstage chemistry that takes over a scene and grabs you. The comedic timing is impeccable. Mr. Wormwood is suitably ridiculous. Must be fabulous to read these kind of reviews. Now, you have to watch them the next day. What did India think? We watch films after the reviews on Friday. Nobody goes on a Friday sometimes. We'll see what the other person is saying. Word of mouth, we call it.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you all not want to see? Do you all not read anything? This is on like all over.
No, well, I think the reason I don't know about anybody else, the reason I don't is, and it's the same reason I haven't seen the movie version of Matilda. I haven't watched it yet. And it's because we have, with my director, we have a relationship, and with everybody else in the company on the stage. And for me, the way that I have worked and created Miss Trunchbull, our Miss Trunchbull, I don't want to be influenced, or I don't need other people's thoughts on it. It's great that they enjoy it. That's really good. I'm very happy for that. But I don't need to worry about anybody else's thoughts on it. And the same reason I haven't watched the movie yet, I will do, is because I don't want to be influenced by what Emma Thompson is an incredible actress, and I don't want to see that and think there'll be a niggle there going, oh, should I be doing that? Should we have that? Should I be more like that? So
this is James's portrayal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's important.
Yeah.
And I think you'd be doing the plus and minus whatever you required. I mean, he wouldn't have to watch that as well. You yourself as a director have never read a review? Wow.
I wouldn't say I've never read
the proof is in the pudding. All the good ones. I've only read the good ones. I didn't see any bad ones.
Good. That's all right then. Don't read the bad ones.
Okay, a couple of things I did have to ask. What's the toughest part about being a West End artist? All the sacrifice and all that goes in there. I mean, it can't be easy on the families. I mean, you're traveling all the time.
Yeah, you do sacrifice quite a lot. It is a wonderful job. Let's start by saying that. It is
we put that up right at the top.
That's the headline. It is
and now the bullet points
job.
after that.
However, it's it's very demanding physically, vocally, all of those things. You have to devote yourself to doing it. And we work evenings, we work weekends, so you kind of lose that. Excuse me, being away on tour, doing this tour. Obviously, we're away from family for a lot of the time. So, you do have to sacrifice those things, but that's part of it.
Wow. Do you find it easy now? A lot of people love it. This is their work.
Yeah, I would just say that you have to live life like with a sort of short-term plan, way of thinking. And as people around me, my age, have started doing more long-term thinking, like I have friends that contact me going, can you come over in 2 months' time? I'm having this party. And I go, gosh, I don't know where I'll be. I don't know what I'm doing. And because you have to just have that flexibility to your life, which makes it really fun and spontaneous, but doesn't necessarily coincide with the people around you. So I guess it's just
I'm surprised I still have friends.
Well, we make new friends.
Yeah, exactly. You just keep moving around.
All the rest of it is on Instagram. Yeah, just DM me on the way out. Books are really, difficult. Roald Dahl was something I used to read. It's like this warm, fuzzy feeling when I used to read Roald Dahl in the night. I remember reading this winter story of his. There was a lot of magic. There was a lot of this world that you could think about. When you portray it on, when it comes in film, the canvas is unlimited, right? Because the budgets can be unlimited and all that, it happens. And a lot of the times you would end up seeing, since he's not seen it, which is great. But when you end up trying to make an adaptation on a play, of course, it's all written, and that's the same way with script. Can it be? Do you think it's easy to portray it in a West End when you take it out of a book? Is there enough that can be done to do justice to the book?
Yes, I think that's what's so special about Matilda the musical. It is such an honest, genuine, and very clever, intelligent adaptation of the book that it really, you feel Roald Dahl in the show, you feel Quentin Blake, the original illustrator, in the show, a lot of the design. The essence of Matilda the book is really in the theatrical experience as well. It's very clever in that way. You can't, it's a lot of, I wouldn't say that every book or every movie to musical is that, but I think that's one of the most special things about Matilda the musical is you really feel you're in the world of Roald Dahl and Quentin Blake.
Have you been in the world of the film at all? Have you seen the film?
Yes, I have. I was even involved.
Tell him one scene that it's not. I mean, that's not in the play. That is there in the film. Is there something that is there because he's not seen it?
It's the same spirit, and I think because a lot of the team that created this show, so it's the same original director, some of the choreography team, Ellen Kane, who's been involved certainly with the production for a long time, choreographed. So the spirit of the world that was created is captured in that movie, and so it kind of Matilda has become its own thing, own essence. It's got its own style. But that is so informed by the world created by Roald Dahl, which is one that is so vibrant. It has children at the heart of many of the stories. So it's a really colourful, beautiful portrayal. And I think that's what hopefully people will think about our show as well.
Your last thoughts? What's the excitement there for the first day? It's always not just because it's India or I'm sitting here with you and you have to say it, but otherwise also new show, new setup. What's the pre-night ritual?
So,
for all three of you all?
For the rest of today, we have some rehearsals to get through.
You're still rehearsing the last day before because you're getting used to the stage.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Yes, it's just getting used to the venue. I'm really excited to see I haven't seen the stage or the auditorium or anything yet. So very excited for that. I've seen pictures of it online. Some friends of mine were here last year with Mamma Mia. And sort of, I saw little snippets of things, and yes, it's very exciting to see this theatre. So yeah, we will do that really today, and then tomorrow again we will sort of look more at the show. I think we do a final dress rehearsal tomorrow, and then we open tomorrow night with the audience.
Any nerves at all now? No,
just kind of thankful, so grateful for Mrs. Nita, Mukesh, Ambani for inviting us here and bringing this show to India. It's the first time, as you know, it's one of the first shows that has come to the NMACC. So we're so excited.
This year's first, yes.
Yeah, this year's first one, and it's really a thrill and an honour for us to tell this story to a whole new country, and hopefully we inspire a lot of young India locals, actors to kind of join the stage revolution,
I'm really looking forward to this. And the one line she says that really did work, because I think a lot of us wanted something that was what we could showcase to the world. And the NMACC is one of that. So make sure you guys catch it. And Matilda, of course, as you know, is a musical. Take care and bye-bye. Thanks guys for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.